I'm Amanda Jane Woodall and welcome to my fashion school. First performed in theatres in 1971 but set in 1959, this stage musical about a group of teenagers and their teenage experiences featured catchy song and dance numbers and also gave us an insight into the era and how they saw gender and relationships. It's Grease Lightning! It's Grease. A girl named Sandy falls in love with a greaser named Danny, and they go through many challenges in their relationship because Danny, he wants to be seen as the liberated man, and Sandy is clinging on to her childhood innocence. The musical is told through 1950s pop culture, including songs and TV shows and magazine references. And it's really an ironic look at a group of teenagers and how they're just acting how the TV shows and magazines are telling them to. It was adapted into a movie version in 1978, and the focus became the forever love story of Danny and Sandy. And this was likely because of the star power of casting Olivia Newton John and JohnTravolta in the two leading roles. Olivia Newton John was born in Cambridge, England in 1948, and she was a smart and happy child who came from a line of Nobel Prize winning relatives. She hated her triple barrel name because it set her apart from her peers, and she just wanted to fit in. And when she was 5 years old, her family moved to Australia, which became her adopted homeland. She had a natural ear for music, which was inspired by her father, who was Welsh and a beautiful singer. And she was gifted a guitar at 13 years old to help her channel her negative feelings towards her parents' divorce. She was soon spotted singing in her sister's coffee shop and invited to be on a talent contest. And there she sang Everything's Coming Up Roses, and she was pretty shocked when she won the entire contest, and her prize was a trip to England. However, the network also offered her a job, so she started appearing regularly on the Go Show, which was a rock and roll show. And there she learned to dance and perform, and she became a recognisable celebrity in Melbourne. In 1965, Olivia and her mum moved to England before her trip expired. And while she was there, her good friend Pat Carroll also won a trip to England, and she planned to sing on the London pub and club scene. But because Olivia was already there, they decided to team up and sing duets. And this meant that they would be a lot safer travelling and having someone else to live with. And so they were so successful in England that Australia wanted them back, and they gave them their own musical TV show. And sadly, in 1968, Pat's visa expired, so the two became separated, and Olivia continued to launch her own solo career. Olivia topped the US country music charts in 1973 with Let Me Be There, and then followed up this success in 1974 by topping the mainstream charts with I Honestly Love You. She went on to win a Country Music Award for Best Female Vocalist, and this was controversial and protested because people felt like she was an Australian pop singer and not a country music star. But she didn't let it put her off. She went touring around America to the rodeos and country music festivals and became loved by even the most purist fans. And so she decided to settle in America. She moved to LA, and she admits it was a culture shock. Whilst living in LA, Olivia was invited to a dinner party alongside Alan Carr, who was casting for Grease the movie musical. And he didn't know much about Olivia's career, and he hadn't seen her perform before, but she absolutely embodied the role of Sandy, and so he offer it on the spot, and she started filming in 1977. John Joseph Travolta was born in 1954. He was the youngest of 6 children living in New Jersey in a middle-class Catholic neighborhood. John had very encouraging and supportive parents, and his mother was a drama teacher, so that inspired his love of performance. He didn't do very well at school, and he didn't make many friends because he was shy and socially awkward, and he preferred dreaming about show business and Broadway musicals. As a teenager, John moved to New York City and he starred in TV commercials and also landed a supporting role in the stage musical Grease, which was performing in Chicago. He landed a role in the ill-fated cult film Devil's Reign alongside William Shatner. And this was a difficult experience for John as he had to film in the sweltering Mexican heat. While he was filming, he met up with his old friend, Joan Prather, who realised that John was lonely, depressed, and he didn't have any friends. So she introduced him to the religion of Scientology, and he is an enthusiastic member until this day. His career then appeared to pick up, and he was cast in the TV show Welcome Back, Kotter as the heartthrob from 1975 to 1979. And his mother absolutely hated his character on the show because she thought it made John look dumb. But he actually really liked his time filming on the show. Sadly, John suffered many tragic events during the height of his success, including losing his girlfriend in 1977 due to breast cancer. They had planned to get married and have children, but sadly, as he was filming Saturday Night Fever, her health went into decline, and he felt very emotional and heartbroken during this, and he poured his grief into the character of Tony Manero, which can be seen in the more emotional scenes of the film. He also tripled white suit sales because of his good looks and dance moves when he wore this outfit during one of the famous dance scenes. And he says he actually wanted to wear a black suit, but cleverly the stylist thought the white would show up more in the disco, and a fashion icon was born. So John was an up-and-coming Hollywood star when he was cast as Danny Zuko in the musical Grease. And he had always dreamed of having this role because he had looked on from the sidelines when he had played a supporting character in the musical. He knew this role like the back of his hand, and he was ready to start filming. Director of the film, Randall Kleiser, says that Danny's persona was taken from the idols of the 1950s like Elvis and James Dean and Paul Newman. His pompadour quiff was taken directly from Elvis, as he was seen as the exciting man of the time, where they had been used to debonair, graceful movie stars before he came along. And Sandy's references were Sandra Dee and Doris Day, and they represented a fragile version of womanhood that was fast fading from society. And so the roles of Danny and Sandy actually are meant to represent past and progressivism, the new and old ideals. And in the finale, the progressivism wins the day when Sandy appears as a new and womanly version of herself. And Danny also changes his character as the film progresses. He wins the race for his best friend, proving his loyalty, and now he is free to focus more on his relationship with Sandy. And with modern eyes, many people feel that Sandy's transformation is sexist because she changes herself for a man. But you have to remember that in the 1970s, this isn't how they viewed the scene. They saw it as Sandy coming out of being repressed, and it was a coming of age moment. And this transformation is shown visually through fashion, with Sandy appearing leather-clad, meeting Danny, who is now in a Letterman jacket. This was a magical moment for the audience. And the song in the finale, You're the One That I Want, topped the US and UK music charts. And the album sold 30 million copies. It was the biggest film of 1978 and is the highest selling musical of all time. And Olivia Newton John and John Travolta went on to have exceptional careers in show business, although their lives were constantly plagued by tragedies. Olivia started the fitness craze in the 1980s due to her biggest hit, Physical, and the music video and lyrics were seen as so risque that they were banned in states like Utah. She also opened her own Australian import store in 1983 on Melrose Avenue and she named it Koala Blue. And this went on to grow into 27 stores worldwide. John Travolta went on to make more progressive cinema, starring in Pulp Fiction, Face Off and Primary Colours during the 90s. Tragically, in 2009, John lost his son Jet to a seizure which he had on a family holiday in the Bahamas. And then in 2020, he also lost his wife, Kelly Preston, to breast cancer. And sadly, he also lost his lifelong friend, Olivia Newton John, from the same illness. And she passed away in August of 2022, leaving behind the Olivia Newton John Foundation, which provides research into plant-based medication. However, their roles in Grease have their own legacy and the musical's popularity has gone from strength to strength throughout the decades, with a revival in the 1990s that took a different kind of view on the musical. It went from being a gritty portrayal of teenagers to something a bit more kitsch and marketable, with extended dance breaks and hula hooping and costumes and set design and celebrities playing the starring main roles. In 2016, the Fox network produced a live version of the musical, which had been cleaned up to cause the least offence to its young audiences. So now there's no smoking, there's no swearing, there's no drinking or no naughty business. And so this is the irony-free version of Grease that all the members of the family can enjoy. It's no longer a story, it's now a commercial brand. And I'd like to know what you think about that.